Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. How are you today? Yeah, it's nice to meet you again in this course, Second Language Acquisition, one of the course in semester 6. Yeah. Okay, so in this meeting, I'd like to explain to you about the general overview of this course. Okay, so first, let's start by defining what is second language acquisition. Second language acquisition is the process of acquiring other language in addition to mother language or native language. Okay. In the other word, this refers to the process by which individuals learn a new language after having already acquired their first language. This can occur through various means such as formal instruction in a classroom setting, immersion in a foreign country, or self-study through books or language application. SLA itself involves a very complex set of cognitive and linguistic process, including the acquisition of new vocabulary and grammar, the development of communicative strategies, and the ability to understand and produce fluent speech. The process of second language acquisition can vary greatly depending on individual factors such as age, motivation, and prior language learning experience. And the existing problem is whether there isn't any research that study SLA as a whole, as one package. But usually researchers only focus on one aspect such as cognitive aspect, sociocultural aspect, or learners' individual factors. Okay, that's why we need to learn this course, second language acquisition. Okay, this, the question is, why do we need to study SLA? Yeah, because we are educator and we teach English as foreign language. So we need to know about SLA. But why? For what reason? Okay. Understanding second language acquisition is important in learning a language for several reasons. The first, understanding the learning process. Understanding the process of second language acquisition can help learners understand the stages of language learning and the challenge and also the strategies that are involved in each stage. This can help learners to set realistic goals and expectations for their language learning journey. And then for the second reason, to identify the strategies. Understanding second language acquisition can help learners identify effective language learning strategies such as immersion, repetition, and scaffolding. This can help learners to develop effective study habits and achieve their language learning goals more efficiently. Then, for the third reason, to adapt the learning styles. Understanding SLA can help learners identify their preferred learning styles and choose the learning materials and methods that work best for them. And this can help learners to stay motivated and engage in their language learning process. And the fourth, to address common challenge. You know that acquiring a second language is not easy. So understanding SLA can help learners anticipate and address common challenges that arise during language learning, such as difficulty with pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary. This can help learners to overcome obstacles and achieve their language learning goals more effectively. Yeah. Overall, understanding second language acquisition is an important component of learning a language, as it can help learners to set realistic goals, identify effective strategies, adapt to their learning style, and overcome common challenges. Yeah. As an educator, we need to know the best method to teach a language to students. That's why we need to learn how the process of second language acquisition. Okay, the next, what is actually the goal of second language acquisition? Yeah, there are three goals of SLA. The first is describing how second language, yeah, L2. L2 means second language. Okay, second language acquisition process, describing how second language acquisition process. And the second, explaining the process of second language acquisition. And the third, explaining the factors influencing the process of second language acquisition. As we know that SLA is very complex and the outcome may vary from one another. It can be different. There is one who learned second language quickly and the other may have difficulty on it. There isn't any general pattern like in the first language acquisition. Okay, that's it. The goals of SLA. So we need to study about SLA to be able to describe the process of uh, that language acquisition itself. And then, yeah, during this course in one semester, in the next one semester, we will find some terms and we will be familiar with these terms. So here I will explain to you several terms related to SLA. Okay, the first is first language or mother tongue. Okay, this is very interesting. First language and mother tongue are often used interchangeably, but they can have slightly different meanings. First language refers to the language that a person learns first, typically in childhood. It is the language that a person is exposed to at home, and it is the language that they use to communicate with their family and community. In many cases, the first language and mother tongue are the same, but it's not always. Mother tongue refers to the language that a person is exposed to in their earliest years of life, typically from birth to about the age of 3. It is the language that a person learns naturally and effortlessly through interaction with their family and community. Mother tongue is often used synonymously with first language, yes, it is, but it can also refer specifically to the language that a person learns from their mother, as mother often play a central role in early language acquisition. So, to sum up, first language and mother tongue are often used interchangeably, yeah, but first language generally refers to the language learned first in the childhood, while mother tongue specifically refers to the language learned from birth to about the age of 3. Okay, however, these terms can vary in meaning depending on the context in which they are used. Okay, the next term is second language and foreign language. Okay, second language refers to a language that is learned in addition to a person's first language. So everyone has their first language. And when we learn the other language, so that's it, the second language. This can include languages that are learned in childhood, such as when a child moves to a new country, for example, and learns the language of the new country, or languages that are learned later in life, such as when an adult learns a new language for work, travel, or personal enrichment. And then foreign language, on the other hand, it refers to a language that is not commonly spoken in person's country or region of origin. For example, English may be considered a foreign language in many non-English speaking countries such as Indonesia, while Chinese may be considered a foreign language in English speaking countries such as America. Okay, While there is some overlap between these two terms, the distinction between second language and foreign language is important in the context of language learning, as the approach to teaching and learning a second language may be different from the approach to teaching and learning a foreign language. For example, learners of a second language may have more exposure to the language through the immersion in a community where the language is spoken, while learners of foreign language might have to rely more heavily on textbooks, language courses, and other formal instruction. That's why sometimes learning a foreign language is more difficult than learning a second language. Okay, for addition, yeah, when the individuals or people learn more than two languages, yeah, maybe in their daily life they use more than two languages, so they are called second language. Yeah, although it's more than two, but they are called second language because there isn't any third language or fourth language. So the language that they learned after they acquired their first language, so that is second language. There isn't any third language or fourth language. Okay, the next term, bilingual and multilingual. Bilingualism and multilingualism also are terms that refer to the ability to speak more than one language, and it's sometimes used interchangeably, but they have slightly different meanings. Bilingualism refers to the ability to speak two languages fluently. This can include people who have learned a second language later in life or those who grew up speaking two languages at home. That's bilingual. And then multilingualism, on the other hand, refers to the ability to speak three or more languages fluently. This can include people who have learned several languages throughout their lives for work, travel, or personal enrichment. Okay, so bilingual is a person who speaks two languages in their life, and multilingual is a person who speaks more than two languages in their life. And then translanguage. Translanguage is a term used to describe a language practice where bilingual speakers use all their linguistic resources, including their first language, second language, and any other language they know to communicate effectively. It involves using a dynamic and fluid mix of language, dialects, and codes to convey meaning and create new understanding. Translanguaging goes beyond traditional ideas of bilingualism, where two languages are treated as a separate and distinct. Instead, it recognizes that bilingual speakers have a range of linguistic and cultural resources that can be used together to enhance their communication and learning. Translanguage has been shown to be effective in educational settings where it can support students' understanding and use of both their first and second language. It can also help students to develop a deeper understanding of language and culture, as well as to build relationships across linguistic and cultural boundaries. Yeah, overall, translanguage is a powerful language practice that acknowledges and celebrates the linguistic and cultural diversity of bilingual speakers and promotes effective communication and learning. That's it. Translanguage. And then the next is interlanguage. Interlanguage refers to the intermediate stage of language learning where learners have not yet fully acquired the target language, but they are developing their own unique language system to communicate in the target language. It is the learner's own version of the language, which is influenced by their first language, their exposure to the target language, and their individual learning experience. Interlanguage is characterized by errors, simplifications, and overgeneralizations. as learners use their developing language system to communicate in the target language. However, interlanguage is not just a set of mistakes, but rather a complex system that is constantly evolving and adapting as learners gain more exposure to the target language and refine their language skills. Understanding interlanguage is important for language teachers and learners as it can help to identify common errors and challenges that learners face and guide the development of effective language learning strategies and materials. And the last is learner language. Learner language refers to the language produced by learners who are in the process of learning a second or foreign language. It encompasses all aspects of language use, including grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and discourse. Learner language is influenced by a variety of factors such as the learner's first language, their exposure to the target language, their motivation, and their individual learning style. Learners may make errors or simplification as they attempt to use the language, and these errors may be influenced by patterns from their first language or by overgeneralization from their limited exposure to the target language. So actually interlanguage and learner language is quite the same. Okay, so those are the terms related to SLA. We will be familiar with these terms, so study this carefully. Okay, now I will start to explain to you about this course. Okay, SLA course or second language course. This course is structured to help students acquire basic knowledge and elements of language acquisition. It discusses the definition, process, and complexity of second language acquisition. The topic is expanded with other materials such as the theory of first language acquisition, factors that influence SLA, and basis of the language learning, interlanguage, and linguistic aspect related to SLA. So this is the description of our course. And then for the lectures theme, this semester you will be taught by two lecturers. The first one is me and the second one is Miss Diani Keputri. I will teach you from the first meeting until the midterm test, and after the midterm test you will be taught by Miss Nika. Okay. And the topics that we will discuss this semester includes first and second language acquisition first, language learning, key issues of SLA, theories on SLA, interlanguage, social and discourse aspect of interlanguage, psycholinguistics and linguistic aspect of interlanguage, and individual differences and instruction on SLA. Okay, so these are the topics that we will discuss this semester. And for the detailed rundown meeting, yeah, the topic that I explained on the previous slide is broken down into several meetings. Yeah, exactly. It's 14 meetings and 16 including the midterm test and the final test. So this is the rundown meeting. In the first meeting, I will explain about uh, the description of this course and also the definition of SLA that I have explained before on the previous slide. And then on the second meeting, we'll discuss about the difference between language acquisition and language learning. And then in the third meeting, we will discuss several issues related on SLA. And then the next meeting, we will discuss about some theories on SLA, including universal grammar, monitor model, cognitive and functionalist approach, and then interactionist and complexity theory. And after that, on meeting 8, we will have midterm tests. And then after the midterm test, you will learn with Miss Nika and the topic discussed. In meeting 9, you will discuss about interlanguage. In meeting 10, you will discuss about social aspect of interlanguage. In meeting 11, it is about discourse aspect of interlanguage. And then in meeting 12, you will discuss about psycholinguistic aspect of interlanguage. And meeting 13, the linguistic aspect of interlanguage. And 14, individual differences in second language acquisition. And 15, instruction and second language acquisition. And then final test. Okay. So before the midterm test, we will focus on some theories on SLA. And after the midterm test, we will focus on the interlanguage and several aspects that influence the process of SLA. Okay, that's it, the rundown meeting. And this is the scoring component. So we will have some evaluation. The first is midterm test. It works 25%, and then final test, it's also 25%. And you will have an assignment. It works 30%, quite big. I will explain about this in more detail later in the next slide. And then for your attendance, it works 10%. And then for the soft skill, it works 10%. Okay, so not only the hard skill, not only the language that we assess in this course, but we also uh, evaluate your attitude, yeah, your discipline in attend the course. I mean, because our course this semester will be online, so how you take the attendance, how you do the quiz and assignment, it will be scored. And also, how's your attitude to confirm about the course? Yeah, because uh, our course is online and you have to remind the lecturer about the course one day before the course. Now, that includes in your soft skill, how you text the lecture, how you discuss about the material. If you have something that you don't understand, you can just freely ask to the lecturer. We are open for discussion, but how's your attitude in having the discussion? Now, that belongs to soft skill. That works 10%. Okay, got it? Okay, so this is the assignment, and I will explain to you about our assignment. Maybe we will work on this assignment after the midterm test. And the assignment is about research collaboration project. So I plan to have a collaboration project between the lecturers and also the students. So we'll work together on this project. And the title of the project is The Influence of EMI. You know EMI? English as the medium of instruction on the first and second language acquisition of bilingual school students. And this is a case study. Okay, this is the plan of our title, but it may change. Yes, so this is actually still the, what is it? Plan. Yeah, let's say this, it's plan. Okay, so we will have a research about this topic. And what should you do? Okay, because I have given the topic, so you need to focus on this topic. And we, as the lecturer, will provide the outline to you. And then after we give you the outline, you can review some literatures that related to our research, and then you can develop our outline to be an article. Okay, especially on the part of introduction, yeah, you need many literatures, many sources. You need to read many articles about this topic. And after that, together we can define and design the research method. And after that, you can go to the school. We will find a school that apply English as a medium of instruction, maybe international school in Purwokerto. Then you go there, ask for permission to have research and take the data. After taking the data, we will analyze the data, and after that, we write the whole article, whole scientific article. And the output of this project is a research article that published on national reputable journal. Okay, so I hope we can work together on this project and the outcome can be achieved. Okay, that's all the general description of this course. If there's something that you don't understand or if you want to ask something, just feel free to ask. And don't forget, next meeting, always remind the lecturers about the upcoming schedule. And don't forget to take the attendance on Scalsa and also do the quiz. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Let's fight together this semester. Yeah, together we can. Thank you. Bye-bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.